Well, hello everybody. Welcome back to your Essentials group. We are delighted to talk about Daniel with you some more today. I have Sarah here. We are going to talk some about chapter 3, which is a very exciting, well-known chapter. And yet it is also kind of wild.
It is wild.
There's a golden calf. There's a furnace. There's a man named Meshach. What is going on here?
Yeah.
Give us the scoop. Sarah.
So chapter 3 does have a lot happening. Nebuchadnezzar, the king, makes a golden statue and then demands that everyone worship it. But there are these Jewish exiles, these leaders, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. I'm certain there is a VBS song about them, but I don't know it. Who refuse to worship this golden statue, and they stay faithful to God. And Nebuchadnezzar has them thrown into a fiery furnace, and then God miraculously saves them. It is such a wild, and I think just visually stunning biblical story.
Yeah, dramatic for sure. But why does Nebuchadnezzar have a golden calf in the first? Why does he make this statue?
Right.
What's the purpose of the statue?
I mean,
You just have it lying around.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's trying to claim power here, and it really became this kind of totalitarian test for people to see who was faithful to him. And ultimately, go
so
ahead.
He's doing it just to test the people, primarily.
I think so. Yeah. Like to see, who's going to fall in line. Which as a mother, I have a lot of empathy for Nebuchadnezzar in that way.
You should try the golden statue.
Yeah, and ultimately he wants to destroy anyone who doesn't follow him, who doesn't follow his laws. And I really think we could say that, I think it's fair to say that King Nebuchadnezzar was falling, into the sin of empire in a lot of ways. And I think it's easy to assume that this does not apply to me in my non-empire life, but I do, honestly, as a mom, think about all of the ways in my life that I'm trying to claim power. When I'm running a household, I'm sure you're familiar with this dynamic in your own household where it's like, now we're going to follow this parenting technique, or, now we're going to eat in this way, and how often when it comes from a place of me sort of trying to declare my power and there's no mercy, it always fails. So I really can, even though it's this, scary biblical king, I can see shadows of myself in him.
Yeah, I can tell. I think for me, I wouldn't use the word power as much as control.
Yeah.
I always want to exert control. I can completely see how someone like that would want to have absolute control.
Right.
Power makes sense to me. So what do we learn? We can learn from empire, from Nebuchadnezzar here. What do we learn from Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego?
So I do want to start, and this is definitely a cultural thing happening right now, but it's hard for me to not read this piece of scripture and think of anti-Semitism first. Part of that, frankly, is because I grew up in Jackson, Mississippi with Jewish friends who were bar and bat mitzvahed at the synagogue that was burned a few days ago. And so it does make me think that Jewish people have been cultural scapegoats. And we see this biblically, and frankly, we see it present day. Also, the deeper spiritual takeaway for me here is that Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego just keep pointing to the light. They keep pointing to a God who does not ask for golden idols at all, to a God that does not scapegoat people. And when we talk about scapegoats, it also makes me think that, we worship a God who sent Jesus Christ to be, in some ways, the ultimate scapegoat for all of us. So I feel like there's just redemption all over this story.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, for sure. So if that's the case, then, if this is a story about a God who refuses to scapegoat, what is the takeaway here from this kind of crazy, miraculous story?
I mean,
What are some takeaways?
Sure. I think there's one of rescue. And I kept, as I was reading this, and it's, it's so interesting to pull apart these pieces of scripture. I kept thinking, gosh, I wish I was preaching on this. Because one thing that was fascinating to me was thinking about the furnace. Because we see King Nebuchadnezzar use this furnace in this really powerful and dramatic way. I mean, to literally melt gold to make a statue. And it kind of makes me wonder if it's the same furnace that gets used to try to murder Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. And that because of the power of God's protection and deep love, they were saved. And for me, that feels like really good news, that when I'm up against something that feels impossible and awful and something that has destroyed other people, other things, that it might not destroy me, that God is also there with me. So I find a lot of rescue in that story.
Gosh, that's beautiful. The furnace which reduces something to nothing.
Yeah.
And God is showing how nothing is something.
Right, right.
That we are something.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. Well, there's a lot of rich conversation to be had. I think the story itself is a page turner, and I hope that you not only enjoy the story, but you enjoy your discussion.
Yeah.
And thanks, Sarah.
Yeah.
Appreciate your help
Thanks,
here.
David. It's great.
All right. Bye.